The other vision of the world is, say, the Broadcom view of the world, which is more networking driven. Do you want to draw a contrast?
Before we even begin, let's talk about network architecture of a data center. Maybe a little heavy topic to begin with. Think of it as a giant, the typical is maybe like a full fat tree, meaning that at the top, there's these switches, and then at the bottom, there's leaves. The leaves are the individual pieces of compute. They're like a rack in a data center. One of the problems is that in making these bigger and bigger models, we're not able to do it in one GPU. We actually need to scale it out over multiple racks. And so there's two visions of the world. One is from the bottoms up, which NVIDIA is doing. And NVIDIA is essentially making concentric circles around their GPU, maybe starting with CUDA and the software ecosystem, then NVLink, which is like a coherent domain of copper at the rack, and then InfiniBand, which fighting against Ethernet. But I think NVIDIA has bets in both places. And so they're coming from the bottom of the leaf in the tree. And they're trying to go up and essentially create bigger and fatter leaves so that you don't need to use the whole tree. Versus the other way is Broadcom. Broadcom is the historical, and to be clear, Hock Tan is no joke.
He's the CEO of Broadcom.
Yeah, CEO of Broadcom. Hock Tan is a killer. There are so many anecdotal stories, how much he raises price, and everyone always thinks Broadcom's moat, or because they have essentially a monopoly on switches, is going to be broken one day because Hock Tan is just a very cost-driven guy. But the reality is Broadcom is an organization that has done a lot with very little. The Broadcom view of the world is, hey, we have the switches. We control the trunk of this leaf, okay? All the top level switches. And then they're starting to sell custom compute. They're trying to sell the leaves. Vision of the world. Broadcom gets to sell the leaf and sell the spine, but importantly, they want to spread out as much as possible. And so there's this kind of balance between literally a top-down versus bottom-up solution. The top-down being Broadcom and the bottom-up being NVIDIA.